Thank you so much. Dear colleagues, dear friends, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are. This is Qingfeng Zhang, the Chief of the Rural Development Food Security Thematic Group of the ADB. I am very happy to moderate this second last session for our forum. In the past 2.5 days, we have a very productive discussions. We learned so much from our global thought leaders, fact experts, and the development practitioners on what dimensions of agriculture and the food system. As one of you know, our discussions come at a very critical time when the global food crisis is looming. Actually, this morning, the steering committee of a global crisis group just established, very much focused on the food price spike. Of course, this morning, the steering committee from the UN highlight the importance to respond to the immediate food crisis, but sometimes also very important to build this food system resilience and also the sustainability. So in the last 2 days, actually it's 2.5 days already, the discussions, findings, debate, very timely to guide the our future operations. Of course, this is not the end of our discussions. We will work to synthesize, summarize, distinct out the main solutions and actions from one of these discussions. As a part of this journey, we are very fortunate have a panel of experts, and of course is also a leader today to guide and also lead operations in agricultural, natural resources, and also the food system in one of the regions in the ADB. Of course, we also have one panel from the FAO as well. They will highlight their practical actions that will help us to guide the future operations, not only just transforming and build the food system resilience, but also will achieve the green rural recovery. So now let me invite one of our panelists to the stage. First, let me introduce Yasmin Siddiq. Yasmin Siddiq is a sector director in the Central and West Asia Department. She is a civil engineer with a postgraduate degree in irrigation engineering, and also has 25 years of experiences in natural resources management, knowledge solutions, and leading the teams of the ADB in the Central Asia for the water, natural resources, and environmental operations. Second, let me invite Thomas Panina, Sector Director, East Asia Department. Tom has a PhD master's degree in public policy and also energy and resources. He has led the water operations in Central, Southeast Asia, including the, of course, his office experiences in Indonesia, Uzbekistan, and of course, it's cut courses so many regions. Tom, of course, now is also leading environment, natural resources, agricultural operations, and also lead the water operations across its bank. Third, I want to invite Margaret come to over Sector Director in ADB's Pacific Department. Margaret has a unique combination of research and operations with a PhD, of course, and also with the 33 scientific publications, and also with one patent. They are our director Makoto is a sort of a knowledge leader in this area. He just come back last year from Nepal, where he leads the policy dialogue, strategic and the country operations in a number of the areas, including agriculture as a country director for that resolution. Number 4, we have the Martin Lemoni, the head of the ADB's agribusiness investment unit. Martin leads the creation of the agribusiness investment team to provide their dedicated focus and expertise to agribusiness investing in the ADB. His team built the agribusiness portfolio of around the $700 million US dollars, including the companies involved in agribusiness, greenhouse farming, livestock, food and beverage, and also the processing distribution since 2030. Let me turn to invite Mio Alka, Sector Director, South Asia Department. She has over 30 years of experiences in research, planning, designing, and also implementing agricultural rural development projects in South America, Southeast Asia, South Asia as well. Since 2015, she has been responsible for administrating the operations in different aspects of the agricultural, water, rural connectivity, and the agricultural value chain in Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, Maldives, Nepal, and also Sri Lanka. Now, let me invite the Dr. Jiang Feng Zhang, Sector Director in Southeast Asia Department. Dr. Zhang is a PhD in agricultural resources economics. Since 2002 to date, he has been working on agricultural, natural resources, rural development in Southeast Asia, South Asia, Central and West Asia as well. His country focus is on policy, institution, financing, and also technological support to inclusive climate resilient environmental sustainability, sustainable agriculture, and also rural development in their Southeast Asia resources. Last but not least is our friend from the FAO. As it's a bakery, senior economist and also the stream leader come from the FAO. As is has a PhD in agricultural economics, he also specialized in climate and the food system interactions, agricultural policy and the development, trade and the markets, oil policy, and also digital agriculture as well. Currently, Dr. Aziz leads the social economic development and also the policy group and the FAO Asia Pacific Regional Office in Bangkok. Now, let me just quickly share with you the format of our discussion this afternoon. We're going to give each of the panel 5 minutes to present their insights. And after that, we will take 1 or 2 questions from the floor. Now, let me first call up Yasmi first. We know Central and West Asia is quite unique in terms of the demands from the DMCs. They are also, we have also heard from our discussions so far, the kind of pandemic, and of course is a invasion of Russia to Ukraine has an implication for the operations in your region. Of course, in this forum, you also moderate the session on the nutrition security, also contributed to as a panelist in a number of the sessions, including the COVID-19 impact on food security. I now invite you to reflect on the future actions and operations to build a sustainable and resilient food system in Central and Asia in terms of recovery from the pandemic, COVID-19 pandemic. Of course, this is a response to the current political conflict. Yasmin, floor is yours. You have the 5 minutes.
Thank you very much, Jingfeng, and thank you to all the thought leaders, participants and contributors to this really excellent forum, which I've thoroughly enjoyed. Jingfeng, perhaps the biggest challenge you've set is 5 minutes to share everything. This could take much longer, but I will try my best. So just in terms of the region, you correctly share the points that our region is quite unique. When we look at the full Asia Pacific region, we have 10 countries which are very contrasting, from Pakistan, Afghanistan, through Central Asia into the Caucasus region. So I always share it as the contrast of Afghanistan and Azerbaijan is the region that I cover with the team. COVID-19 pandemic impacted food insecurity, and it was further compounded by climate impacts, extreme weather events such as drought, political conflicts, as we've seen in Afghanistan, and also locust swarms. So there were a number of features that we faced which impacted on food security. We looked at the key risks to our developing member countries, and I did want to start with the macro level risk, which of course is the risk of the overall economy. And we're all seeing that now with this new situation that's arising in Europe, how that macroeconomic situation can also impact on our sector. We've seen the reduction in the domestic food supply, limited access to food, price increases, of course, in some cases up to 40% in countries such as Kyrgyzstan and Tajikistan, low purchasing power, lack of resilience, limited agro trade, and of course, all of this is with the backdrop of climate impacts. So tremendous implications in our region. In terms of the events and what we've learned in recent days, it's been a wealth of knowledge that's been generated. And importantly, if I look at it from the regional context and then country level, of course, at the regional level, it's important that we look at the resilience that exists within our developing member countries and work with our governments on enhancing that resilience against food and non-food supply shocks. I believe that's fundamental. Secondly, to identify effective short and medium-term measures, because we alone cannot solve these challenging situations, and it requires short-term immediate solutions, plus longer-term, medium and long-term development interventions. To advise in the strategic area on refining agricultural development and food security policies. A very challenging area, but I do think this type of crisis provides us with a very valuable opportunity to really enter into the policy area and encourage our governments to think about food security policies. Secondly, climate change and embedding key areas of the NDCs into strategic frameworks. So again, long-term thinking and informing policy dialogue and operations in our developing member countries through cross-sectoral discussions, just as we've done through this forum. So learning from each other across the regions, learning from broader partners. In terms of the activities at the regional level, again, ADB is looking at, in our region, looking at non-tariff barriers in improving cross-border customs clearance procedures for food products, enhancing regional cooperation through harmonization of product standardization, and increasing food safety. So we talked about this yesterday as well, and the importance of food safety from a nutrition context. And we're doing a lot of this work at the regional level. As you know, we have the Central Asia Regional Economic Cooperation Platform, CAREC, and that's looking at this type of activity for the region. Of course, promoting climate change at the regional level as well. At the country level and in the immediate term.
Yes, I mean, you have the 1 minute left.
1 minute. Yes, food reserves and implementing emergency food assistance. I'm going to skip some of the ones that I had already thought about, but improving marketing and logistics, enhancing food production and food safety, and importantly, Jingfeng, which I think we need to emphasize and continue to emphasize, is enhancing the capacities of smallholder farmers and inclusiveness. This is the vital workforce for our region, and we cannot ignore the value addition that they bring and how much we need to target our solutions towards them. I'm going to leave 3 takeaways for the future. 1, regional perspective is as important as the national context. Secondly, bringing in other perspectives from ministries of finance, economy, and planning, so that we look at how agriculture fits within the broader context, broadening cross-sector collaboration, public and private partnerships, finding solutions across sectors. And we learned about this again yesterday in the nutrition. Lastly, imagining things to make them happen. If we don't imagine them, they will never happen. And here's where we have this opportunity collectively to imagine solutions for the future. I'll stop there. Apologies if I overran time. Thank you.
No problem, Yasmin. We will reach reflections. Now, let me call up Tom Panina. Tom, your region has a very diverse operations, including digital agriculture, climate resilient agriculture, nutrition security, green financing, urban-rural integrated development. Definitely, one of these operations quite relevant for the rest of the Asia as well, but they might vary in terms of priorities, which have implications in their sort of future knowledge, regional knowledge sharing and regional cooperation. Tom, you also moderate a session on digital agriculture in the food state, and now I invite you to reflect on your one, of course, your future operations in East Asia, but sometimes your reflections on what the future of the food and agriculture in the region. Tom, floor is yours. You have 5 minutes as well. Tom?
Yeah, thank you, Chengfeng. First, again, I'd like to thank you as well as everyone else who participated in the sessions. It was really a great forum. And indeed, it was incredibly timely, the Forum on Food Resilience, when food security is a looming and growing concern globally and regionally. The East Asia Department, where I work, is carefully monitoring the food security situation in Mongolia through a TA we had specifically to look at vulnerabilities in the supply chain due to COVID-19, which we reviewed in the session. And this engagement is particularly important now for Mongolia, who imports significant wheat and other commodities from Russia. We're discussing with our Mongolian counterparts to look at opportunities to invest more on marketing infrastructure and food reserve systems in the coming years. And ideally, this can be scaled up in Mongolia and regionally. Also based on this experience in Mongolia, as alluded to by Yasmin, we need to increase cross-regional consolidated efforts to assess the food security situation and to prepare our responses from a regional perspective. East Asia would be very happy to participate in this. Also, as highlighted in the forum, and the application of digital technologies is becoming extremely important to agricultural production, the value chain, and ultimate distribution. As noted, the session I chaired on digitalization highlighted fascinating opportunities to work with the private sector on the application of technology and food systems transformation and increased food security. ADB can play an important role to help facilitate this type of PPP collaboration, and we need to gather more successful models of private sector participation in ADB operations. And again, application of digitalization has large potential for our program in the PRC, which we've already started to include some of these features. The forum's discussion on medium long-term pathways to sustainable inclusive food systems was also highly relevant to our operations. We're launching the Yellow River Ecological Corridor program, which is a long-term program in which we adopt an integrated approach to natural resource management, environmental and ecological conservation, and climate change to support high-quality green development. And agriculture and its climate smart agriculture is a large part of this. To achieve these outcomes, we also focus on institutional and policy reforms, knowledge and innovation, and private sector solutions. We're currently preparing the Green Farmland Demonstration and High Quality Agricultural Development Project in the Yellow River Basin for approval this year that takes these concepts forward in an integrated approach and sets the path for us to continue these efforts with our PRC partners. Climate change was highlighted as a major concern in East Asia, is working on this. In Mongolia, we have large mitigation opportunities through sustainable rangeland and livestock management. Climate change is also a major concern for East Asia Department, as noted, and we're supporting the PRC prepare the climate resilient or its national water adaptation or its national climate change adaptation strategy for 2035, which has a large agricultural component. Lastly, I'd just like to mention, I think we'd all benefit from increased South-South knowledge sharing as demonstrated through this forum. And EARD, East Asia Department, puts a high priority on cross-regional knowledge sharing. And I'd also like to invite all of you to the East Asia Forum on April 2021, where we'll discuss knowledge sharing opportunities of low carbon rural development across the region, including agriculture. We greatly appreciate the material put forward. We are trying to take it up, but obviously can do more, and look forward to working with our colleagues to achieve more food secure Asia Pacific region. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tom. One of us look forward the East Asia Forum, and also that is a great opportunity for the knowledge sharing. Let me now turn to Marketo, Director Marketo. We know small island developing member countries in terms of the food and agriculture is quite different from the rest of the Asia. But the issues can be same because the malnutrition is the huge problem in Pacific. Supply chain disruption, climate change also is a huge concern in Pacific, like in many other regional countries as well. So now I want to invite you, Dr. Makoto, can you quickly share your observations how we can build up a sustainable resilient food system in the Pacific, given their unique challenges facing with your region?
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, good evening, everyone. I'm very pleased to participate in this panel discussion. Indeed, the Pacific countries have very unique challenges, and countries in the Pacific, particularly small island states, are highly vulnerable to climate changes like sea level rise, typhoons, and droughts, among others. They, of course, are small, remote, and isolated, maybe with exception of two big countries like PNG and Fiji. And of course, these create pressure on resources and sourcing food from external sources, and also have implication on access to market. Agriculture, in fact, is declining over time as a share of GDP in the Pacific countries, mainly due to loss of soil fertility and agricultural land to other competing uses and the impacts of climate change. Also, malnutrition and nutrient deficiencies are quite challenging, and this is because of low consumption of fruits and vegetables and increasing reliance on relatively inexpensive processed imported foods. And finally, I think another important challenge is accessing access to water supply and addressing water demand, both for drinking water supply and food production, which is really very critical. We are working with the governments and communities to see how these challenges could be addressed. And there are several areas where we are focusing on our support. First is actually developing integrated cross-sectoral solutions using renewable applications. And probably I would talk on that maybe more because I'm representing the energy division. And that's certainly to ensure sustainable water supply. And such solutions include addressing water demand through end-use technologies that directly contribute to climate change adaptation, such as water harvesting through installation of water collection pipes, water treatment, filtration, pumping, and storage facilities, options for regenerative nature-based solutions and food production, such as hybrid seawalls, mangrove tree planting, not only to produce fresh water and regenerate the reserve, but prevent soil erosion. Also, small-scale solar-powered desalination plants would be more appropriate for relatively medium-sized island communities and help to address water supply issues, both for drinking purpose and irrigation. Second, using innovative technology solutions to address land limitation, for example, floating solar PV in lagoons and small lakes, that actually reduces demand for land, particularly the one that can be used for agricultural production. Also, another area which we are focusing on is improving supply chains through focusing on blue shipping and having electric boats for transportation between main and outer islands, and creating a relevant charging infrastructure that would also help promote private shipping operators and internal traders.
Okay, you have one more minute.
Developing rural electrification, renewable energy mini-grids that provide stable electricity supply and help to create cold storage facilities for keeping fish and agricultural produce. And that is important, particularly in small island countries and outer islands. We certainly focus on climate change and disaster risk management. And in that sense, we very much focusing our efforts on preparation of climate change and disaster risk management roadmaps and providing specific support to the Pacific governments on that. I think one of the important activity that we have in an intervention that we're going to expand is actually helping with conducting multi-hazard disaster risk assessment, similar to one that we had in Tonga. And in fact, those types of assessments, they actually help to promote upstream risk assessments and help to properly plan urban infrastructure and also ensure proper agricultural planning and certainly relevant project designs. And certainly we're supporting climate resilient investments and adaptation pathways in the Pacific, and we have specific regional technical assistance that actually focusing on that. Of course, what is important for the Pacific, it's increasing contribution to climate financing. And we have a number of projects that we're planning in coming years. Maybe I'll just bring some examples on those. Like in Samoa, we're working on a multi-purpose dam project that would help with flood protection.
Yeah, probably you can wrap up.
And two important projects on climate adaptation and renewable energy and water supply in Kiribati and Federated States of Micronesia. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much. I know I saw so much to share, particularly for the Pacific. You're facing a tremendous challenges, of course, with opportunities. Let me know I turn to Martin. Martin, we know building the resilient food system is not possible if without the private sector. In this forum, we also heard so rich information, also discussion about the private sector participation. My question to you is, since you also deeply involved this one of the session on the alternative protein, my question to you is how we can also scale up the private public partnership and also private sector investment in other development agenda, including like digital agriculture, climate resilient agriculture, promoting the nutrition security, and also building their green supply chains. Also, probably you can also reflect your actions to mobilize the more private resources for the agro-business. Floor is yours, Martin. You also have the 5 minutes.
Thank you, Xingfeng, and good evening, everybody. And it was a very interesting 3 days together. I think, as we discussed, this sector has a lot of issues: nutrition, poverty, environment. And to me, the reason why we see so many issues is that this sector is underinvested. The rate of investment in this sector is lower than in other sectors. If you look at the percentage of CapEx and R&D over revenues, in this sector, it's 5% only, as opposed to 10 to 15% for health, energy, IT. So I think there is really a call for action needed on increasing the level of investments, public and private sector investments in the sector. And actually, the Food and Land Coalition quantified that and indicated that annually we need to invest $350 billion to transform the food systems. So the $100 billion of ADB is an important contribution to this, and I think we are all part of this. On the private sector side, we provide debt financing and equity investment, as well as technical assistance to private sector agribusinesses and financial intermediaries as well. In terms of areas of focus, what almost our entire pipeline now is focused on climate mitigation and adaptation. We want to help small farmers with quality inputs, for example, high efficiency fertilizer, high efficiency aqua feed for aquaculture, quality seed, irrigation, animal health products. So the inputs is really critical, the quality of the inputs. On the farming side, we want to promote a business model that are sustainable, sustainable aquaculture, sustainable forestry, agroforestry, as well as, and there was a session on this, alternative proteins. For example, insect is a very efficient way to produce proteins that we are trying to promote. Finally, on the downstream side of the value chain, we are helping food processors, logistics companies, and distributors becoming more energy efficient and supporting as well the circular economy, for example, with plastic recycling. So in terms of quantum of investment, we deploy around $200 million every year, and we have about 20 agribusiness companies as clients. If you include the banks, it's more like 200 clients that we have, and we do $2 billion a year of indirect financing as well. We can double or we can triple this in the next 10 years. So we should be able to reach 500 clients and $5 billion of direct and indirect investment. And a big share of this should be focused on climate mitigation and climate adaptation. So as you said, Yingfang, we need public sector and private sector to work hand in hand to help each other, because the private sector will not invest if they don't see the public sector investing as well in infrastructure, in supporting services. And similarly, if the private sector invests and develop sustainable business models, I believe the public sector will also accompany this and do even more. So I think
Martin,
I'm working very closely with my colleagues, and we should continue to support each other and grow together. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Martin. Definitely, the private PSOD and also the World Regional Department or working together is very essential. This is also the definition of the 1ADB approach. Now, let me turn to Director Mil Alka. Mil, you are really leading the operation on agricultural natural resources management in a region with the highest population mass or the population density among the world regions. So green rural recovery and also the sustainable food system discussing this forum very much relevant to your region. Of course, it's a big implications for your operations as well. Just before this session, you also moderate a session on the green financing to transform agriculture. And now invite you to share your perspectives and also, of course, your reflection on the solutions discussed so far and how you're going to align with your future operations. Mil, floor is yours. You also have the 5 minutes.
Thank you, Chin-Fei. And also, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank everybody for allowing me to participate or to moderate a very interesting session on the financing green and resilient inclusive agriculture. Thank you. I truly enjoyed the session. Right, so I work for South Asian countries, namely India, Bangladesh, Nepal, Sri Lanka, and Maldives and Bhutan. And I take care of 3 subsectors on water, meaning coast and flood management, irrigation, and rural infrastructure of rural road and rural markets, and agriculture, but mainly on agribusiness in close collaboration with our private sector development department. So as you can imagine, and a lot of us know, our region, the South Asia region, is bouncing back from COVID very quickly and strongly. And also we have a large population in those countries, and that I know many opportunities are there. However, our challenges remain. One is we have huge or the large number of pockets of poverty exist in those countries. And second, we have new challenges of climate change. We have more frequent flood and also natural disasters as we witness in the region. So the key for us is to really reduce vulnerability of rural population. So COVID or climate change, I like them to be more resilient to external shocks. So from this perspective, let me just try to share what we try to do here. Just one slide. So, so we have a broad strategy to tackle or to reduce the vulnerability of population. One is incremental. So we add climate change component to our existing project. So our projects is really becoming a little more complex. For example, we used to have an agri-business project that's a standalone. Now we add a component that we work to address their land problem in a dry zone, for example. Also, we have a coastal resilience project. We used to have an infrastructure based coastal project, but now we try to build in livelihood components so that the people living along the coastlines, their livelihood can be enhanced. And of course, climate change is about is about water. So we strengthen our pipeline through marketing of a water project in many of the countries. I just say states here because that's we largely work in India. So this is our 50% of our work. 30% will remain what we call new. So we have been approaching various national ministries for assisting national program. Even some cases we come up
You have
with,
one last minute.
yeah, we come up with a new national program. And also we start to approach in dry zones, and that's new to me. And another third one, which is important and which has a relevance to our participant today, we would like to catalyze innovative financing. We know a lot of private sectors and operators would like to finance if in climate change, but I know that they have a challenge in creating projects. So this is where ADB can fill the gap by helping the government to design project. Thank you. I will stop here.
Thank you so much, Bill. This slide is so simple and also so straightforward to give us a picture what's going on future of your operations. Now, let me turn to our last panelist from the ADB, Jiangfang Zhang. Jiangfang, you are already leading an operation in the Southeast Asia region. This region comprises very diverse range of countries. Of course, is also facing a number of the key challenges, aging farming, small farmers. Of course, is also vulnerable to the climate change. Jiangfang, you also moderate a particular session on the climate resilient agriculture under this forum. Now, let me invite you to share your perspective and also your future operations in your region, and also your thoughts on how to build up a sustainable resilient food system in ADB. Thank you. Jiangfang, you have 5 minutes.
Thank you very much, Qin-Feng. Also, thank you so much to Qin-Feng and also all the colleagues who have been organizing this excellent forum. And also thank you so much to all the participants for your active participation and also feedbacks and dialogues. We learned a lot, and also especially for the operations in Southeast Asian countries. As Qin-Feng just mentioned, Southeast Asian countries consist of countries at a very different level of development. So actually, we need to come up with the country-tailored solutions. But then there's also some commonalities we can look into. For our operation in Southeast Asian country, basically, we have been looking into several key points as a kind of guiding principles for our operation in the region. The first one is that, as also has been talked about during the forum, actually, for the agri-food system transformation, the farmers, the production is the starting point. We need to put the farmers at the center of our consideration, but we need to link the farmers with the market, with the private sector. So the first key point that I want to highlight here is to promote market-oriented production and link the farmers with the private sector, with the technology, financing. And importantly, is in terms of the introducing technologies, which has been also been mentioned by colleagues, like for example, digital agriculture and traceability of the food, as well as the other important things like remote sensing. The second thing I want to highlight is the importance of enhancing the climate adaptation and the resilience. Especially many of the Southeast Asian countries are highly vulnerable to the climate change, as well as to other disasters. So we have been working on, for example, community resilient development. We have been promoting climate smart agriculture. And we need to work more on this climate adaptation, for example, on enhancing irrigation efficiency, on enhancing water management. It's also important for us to continue to look into coastal erosion protection, flood and drought management. And we have this kind of investment project in almost all of our Southeast Asian countries. Another important area for us to look into is natural capital and the biodiversity management. This is very, very important for Southeast Asian countries. Like, for example, we have been working on the biodiversity conservation corridor in GMS countries, and we have also ongoing projects in Indonesia. And in the meantime, we're also looking into the new opportunities for Vietnam as well as Cambodia. The third point that I want to mention is that it is very important for us to support the policy reforms and also to promote the enabling environment. We have been working on the policy-based lending in Philippines on enhancing the competitiveness as well as inclusiveness of the agricultural sector in Philippines. And also just for information, right now we are processing a new policy-based lending also for Philippines on climate change actions. And one of the key reform areas is on enhancing the resilience of the country. And the other point that I want to highlight is very important for us to come up with an innovative business model as well as innovative financing modalities. These are things we are looking into for Southeast Asian countries. For example, right now, we are exploring a marine finance facility in Cambodia, as well as we're looking forward for this kind of facility for Indonesia as well. And my last point that I want to highlight is it's very important for us to support this upstream knowledge work as well as advisory services with our DMC government counterpart to come up with some initiatives which can support the countries. Just for example, in the preceding session, Takashi-san has shared for example, the agriculture sector assessment, the strategy and the roadmap we prepared for Cambodia. And also this year, we have also the sector assessment, the strategy and the roadmap for Vietnam approved as well. Yeah, so let me conclude here. Thank you so much, Qin-Feng.
Thank you so much, Cheng-Feng. Of course, so much, the Southeast Asia can share with the rest of the region as well. So let me now invite our friend, our panelist from the FAO, Dr. Aziz. Your FAO is doing so much great job in help the member countries for the recovery from the COVID-19. Of course, right now we are facing the different challenges, including the inflation, of course, the invasion of Russia to Ukraine. You also deliver a keynote speech in one of the special sessions on the COVID-19 impact on food security today. Now, looking forward, can you quickly share with us FAO's response to the immediate food crisis, and of course, the future activities to build the resilient food system, and also how IDB and the FAO can strengthen the cooperation in the future. Dr. Aziz, the floor is yours. You have 5 minutes as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and I'm very pleased to lend my perspective to this August panel. Being last and having heard so many interesting inputs, it will save me then not to have to repeat. So I'm going to give you a perspective of FAO in a few minutes related to the post-COVID agri-food transformation system that was properly articulated last year at the UN Food Systems Summit, in which all the countries have invested in fresh thinking about how they want to move forward with their agricultural agri-food systems in light of COVID, in light of climate change, and in light of the perennial challenges that we were always facing. So I will basically summarize a few key points. FAO is starting this year a new strategic framework, a 10-year plan, centered on a sustainable, inclusive, and resilient agri-food system transformation that target basically 3 main goals linked to our contribution to SDG 1 on poverty, SDG 2 on hunger, and SDG 10 on equality. So these basically main thrust of our work plan is centered on better production for nutrition, for climate adaptation, improving climate smart agriculture practices, and also helping absorb the labor challenge, the labor problem, which we are facing in many farming communities, and keeping a diverse production systems in view of a healthy, diverse nutrition. Second objective, second goal is, of course, to invest more in climate adaptation and climate resilience, especially in our region, which is prone to many disasters and climate-related catastrophes. And the third thrust of our new program work relate to rural revitalization or rural transformation to contribute to SDG 1, SDG 2. Under this umbrella, there are 3 core actions to focus on, which connects with what has been said by the ADB colleagues. One is invest in technologies and innovations, largely driven by digital innovations, but make them inclusive and make them obviously resilient and affordable. And second, parallel to that, invest in people. And in this case, in our framework, in women and youth and small-scale producers brought with these technologies and the innovations to solve the production, natural resource, climate adaptation, and youth and employment, rural employment issues, and of course, rural and urban connections. And the third is to invest in institutions that enable these transformative innovations at the field level, at the farm level, at the agribusiness level, small scale or medium scale, like farm cooperatives, but also at the country level to keep policy coordination going.
Dr. Aziz, you have 1 more minute.
So just a couple last points. Given the crisis that we are facing, the new emerging crisis, which is coming to compound with the COVID, obviously focusing again on transparent open trade system is critical. So investing in open regional trade is one of the factors. But however, we were emphasizing at the outset of COVID the importance of social protection to build social resilience. But now with the emerging economic crisis looming as a result of the Ukraine crisis, we need to look at trade-offs. Obviously, we cannot expand social protection indiscriminately. It has to be targeted. And we need to do basically some prioritization as to the actions to undertake in the short term. This is a long term in reconfiguring the agri-food system along the broad outcome I just outlined. So I leave it at that. Thank you very much, and welcome your feedback. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Aziz. We can hear now. I didn't do the good job to manage the time, so we don't have time to take any questions from the floor. We heard so rich information for the actions and recommendations. Again, my colleague is going to prepare the summary and share with all the audiences. So let me take this opportunity to thank one of the panelists, particularly our friend from the FAO, Dr. Aziz, and then my 6 directors from one of the regions and also PSOD. Now, let me announce closing this session, but at the same time, I invited one of the participants to share your feedback using the evaluation form, which we can share here in this chat. With that, probably let me I turn the floor to the moderator for our last session, closed session. Shiri, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much indeed, and thank you for that masterful moderation, Mr. Zhang. Just to reiterate, if we could have you to answer these questions, very quick poll, which you can see on your screen now. Just take a second to go through those answers. I'll give you a moment to complete that. Okay, that should be long enough. So here we are at the end of 3 days of what has been very intense, very thought-provoking, very wide-ranging discussions through our panel sessions, our technical discussions, our deep dives. We've heard some critical insights and practical solutions, and it is our sincere hope that this crucial knowledge sharing on this platform will help us towards our goal of more resilient, more sustainable food systems in Asia and the Pacific region. So it's my pleasure now to welcome our final speaker of the forum. Mr. Sungsuk Ra is the Chief Sector Officer of the Sustainable Development and Climate Change Department for the Asian Development Bank. Mr. Ra has worked in both the Bangladesh and Nepal resident missions as Deputy Country Director, Senior Advisor to the Managing Director General, and Director for the Pacific Operations Division. As a strategic and innovative leader, he's led high-level policy dialogue with developing countries and significantly contributed to ADB's recent expansion in the social sector. So here to outline the ADB's vision of its future direction in rural development and food security, please welcome Mr. Sungsuk Ra.
Thank you, Shirley. Good afternoon and good morning. Thank you for participating in ADB's biannual flagship knowledge event, Asia Pacific Rural Development and Food Security Forum 2022. Over the past 3 days, we discussed emerging challenges to food and nutrition security and frontier knowledge and solutions to build sustainable, resilient, and green food system in Asia and the Pacific. With the recovery of COVID-19 around in the corner, the timing of this forum is very opportune. The forum includes 1 leaders roundtable, 4 technical sessions with significant emphasis on voices from the field worker, 3 deep dive sessions, 1 special session on COVID-19, and finally, plenary sessions with participation of the stewards of the operation in agriculture from ADB and partner organization. More than 1,000 participants attended different sessions of the forum. We were privileged to hear from inspiring global leader, along with the Vice President ADB, Associate Vice President of the IFAD in the Leaders Roundtable, who set the scene for discussion in the follow-up sessions. Esteemed speakers discussed knowledge-intensive solutions to build sustainable and resilient food systems. This forum was one occasion to showcase 2 important knowledge products, advance the progress toward launching of innovative natural capital financing facility with the support from a corporate technical assistance project of ADB and other partner organizations. It has also created new opportunities for cooperation with partners, including Ministry of Agriculture, Forest, and Fishery of Japan, and other private sectors. I especially appreciate the key roles of ADB partners in organizing this forum, including International Fund of Agriculture Development, International Rice Research Institute, World Vegetable Center, World Food Program, International Atomic Energy Agency, International Food Policy Research Institute, Food and Agriculture Organization of United Nations, and The Economist. We have 5 key takeaways in their keynote addresses delivered during the Leaders Roundtable. Both Vice President Caselli of ADB and Associate Vice President Brown of the IFAD highlighted the need to increase strategic and science-based investment in agriculture with focus on innovative technology for nature positive solutions. Vice President Caselli also iterated ADB's commitment to work with all partners to step up support for agriculture, support for climate smart agriculture across the entire agriculture and food value chains, including the blue economy, through policy and technological intervention using nature-based solutions. The leaders noted that the global food crisis is looming due to combined effects of the prolonged pandemic, increasing energy prices, extreme weather, and also ongoing invasion of Russia to Ukraine. Based on the lessons from the 2008 food crisis, the leaders called for maintaining open flows of trade and enhancing inclusive social protection and safety net by developing countries. The leaders also stressed the climate change is still the single most important threat to the sustainability and resilience of food system in Asia. They highlighted the importance of introducing medium and long-term measures to build the food system's resilience to cope with climate changes. At the session on digital agriculture, we have heard it from the panelists using example from Vietnam, India, People's Republic of China, and Philippines, how to promote digital agriculture involving small farmers. To scale up these examples, we need to first create an enabling environment for private sector participation and entrepreneurial spirit. Second, build more digital infrastructure in rural areas. Third, mobilize more public investment to crowd in private sector investment. Related to that, we need to promote secondary and tertiary education in rural area, not only to promote inclusiveness, but also to prevent the country from being trapped in middle-income status for long. One panelist summarized the call of the time to build a sustainable, resilient food system and meet growing demand for nutrition as plant, emphasizing the importance of thinking out of box to promote urban farming, vertical farming, hydroponics, and farming in controlled environment. However, we need to develop new varieties of seed suitable for vertical farming and hydroponic. Comprehensive policy action is required to eliminate undernutrition, overweight, and obesity. We learned that use of simple technology can reduce the GHS emission by rice production by almost 50%. We just needed the right incentive and support in structure to motivate farmers to adopt them. Inclusion of women, which account for about 40% of the agriculture workforce, people with disability, and marginal farmers in climate smart agriculture is crucial. Capacity building for developing countries to promote low carbon technology and crops is fundamental to enhance climate financing. Finally, different speakers highlighted the importance of natural capital financing. As you have heard it, ADB is developing an innovative natural capital financing facility to attract natural capital investments and offer knowledge solutions to build sustainable and resilient food system. The facility will have 3 pillars: natural capital lab, an agribusiness service platform, and a natural capital fund. It will strengthen eco compensation for ecological services, which in return incentivize farmers to adopt new practices. In conclusion, the forum has brought new knowledge, inspired and created extra momentum for us to build a sustainable and resilient food systems by scaling up investment in agriculture, including non-crop subsectors. We will also continue working in collaborative and coordinated action with partners and developing countries to achieve impact at scale. In coming days, ADB will prioritize innovation and investment for wider climate change and environmental sustainability projects. Before I conclude, let me thank you all, the most important part of the forum. We learned participants who showed great interest, made the forum very interactive. I would like to thank our speakers, partner organization. We also like to thank to our own colleagues at ADB who really work hard to organize this forum. Finally, there is the evaluation form that I request you to fill in. As you already know, the certification of the participation in this forum will be issued only if we complete this evaluation. Thank you once again for your valuable time, insight during this forum. I wish you a good day, all the best. Thank you very much.